Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Reselling Rhythms. If you're new to my channel, my name is Adam, and my channel's name is Adam's Exploits. This channel is predominantly about reselling. What I do is I bring in a reseller that's experienced every Wednesday at 3 p.m. Eastern, and we speak about reselling. And what they do is they come in, they're very generous with their time and their knowledge, and they come in and they educate you guys and educate me as well. So, they're here basically to help us learn about reselling and help us make more money. So again, that's what we do pretty much every Wednesday at 3 p.m. Eastern. Today we're going to be talking about retail arbitrage, which is basically going out and buying things at retail stores and then flipping them on Amazon or eBay. My guest is extremely experienced in retail arbitrage. He informed me he's one of the first, if not the first, that actually did a YouTube video on retail arbitrage. He and I have met several times. He's been on my channel before. So we're going to get into it shortly. And let me just see if we're starting to fill in a little bit in the into the chat. So far we have Miss Crystal, Rosie's Closet. We have Philly Picker. Thanks for joining us, Philly Picker. I think it's Philip. Is that correct, Philly Picker? We have Craig Lanchard Picker. What's Craig saying? I thought rheumatoid arthritis. Well, don't get me started with arthritis. I just had X-rays on my back a little while ago. Hello, Michelle, my super duper moderator. That is the trivia expert. If you ever go on any kind of game show you want, Michelle is your phone a friend. Joe, I'm sorry. I know people were calling you Philip in the chat the other day. I'm sorry. I guess I was mistaken. I probably half asleep when I was watching it. But anyway, I'm just going to give it about 30 seconds, guys, because actually the notice went out. 30-minute notice went out. I had to finagle it to make it go out. So it did go out. So hopefully we'll have a bunch of people. And again, my guest is Shane Rising Right Picker. He's more than willing to answer any of your retail arbitrage questions. So basically what I asked Shane to do was, because like I said, he's an expert in this, is to give us like a basic like beginner's course on retail arbitrage and what are the advantages, and should we sell that on eBay or Amazon? Is there a difference? What are some of the softwares and the apps that are involved? So that's why Shane is here. And again, he's more than willing to answer any of your questions. So feel free to put them in the chat. Guys, if you're watching the replay after the fact, you can put them in the comments below, and I'll make sure I'll get them to Shane and he'll answer them. And I also have all Shane's social media contacts as well in here. And Shane just recently did a video. We'll get into that later and at the end of the show, and I'll try to post that as well in the description below. So let me get Mr. Shane here and get him into the chat. We'll have him introduce himself. Shane, you are up, sir.
Hey, what's up, everybody? So I started out, I go by the Rising Grind Picker on YouTube, but my name is Shane, and I started out selling on eBay in 2005, and then started my Amazon accounts about 5 years old, 4 to 5 years old, and then started selling on Amazon. So.
Okay. Now, where originally were you from, Shane? I think we did that when we first had our show, but yeah. To refresh my memory, and I know you did retail for a lot of years, and you were in security, and just give us a little I call it an elevator speech of your
Absolutely.
background. And
so all right. So I actually was born in Illinois, from Illinois, and then currently live in Illinois. Moved to Indiana for about 3 years. So I worked in law enforcement for 3 years, did 10 years in corporate retail for like asset protection and loss prevention, had to deal with like suppliers and stuff like that. And so now I'm a full-time reseller, and me and my wife still live in Illinois. So
now you said you started doing eBay back in 1995. Is that correct?
No, 2005.
2005. Okay, I was thinking 95. That's a lot.
Yeah, 2000. I'm only 32, so that would make me like.
Yeah, that would make you. Well, some people are starting when you're like 12 years old.
Yeah, 2005. I started like casually, like I had just graduated high school, and I'm like, oh, cool. I was selling some baseball cards on eBay.
Okay.
And stuff like that.
Magic the Gathering cards and baseball cards and all these different collectible things.
Yeah, and I actually used to collect a lot of baseball cards when I was a kid, so I had my whole collection. So I was just selling some cards out of that and just trying to make some, extra money.
Now, what about thrifty? Did you have anybody in your family that was a thrifter, or you just naturally got into it?
No, you know what? It's crazy is, I grew up extremely poor. Like my family, like my mom worked 2 full-time jobs. We didn't have money. My dad was, medically retired from the military. he was injured in Vietnam.
Okay.
We didn't have a lot of money. So my parents went to garage sales. They went to secondhand stores to buy stuff.
Sure. Okay.
So
you were exposed to it that way.
yeah, absolutely. Yep.
Okay, like I tell people, my mother was a school teacher, and I've told them many times I had some health issues in my family, and we're talking about the Cancer Society.
Yep.
We had Chris on last week. He's working for the American Cancer Society and running their e-commerce business out of Burbank.
Nice.
And we talked about cancer. And growing up, my dad had Parkinson's, like the early onset, like Michael J. Fox. So and he was a school teacher. My mother was a school teacher. So then my mother basically was a single parent raising us, and my father was disabled. And then my father ended up getting leukemia. But anyway, so my mother used to shop at all these discount outlets like the Burlington Coat Factory. And I don't think there were Ross's back then, but those type of stores. Yeah. And Marshalls, she used to call it Marshalls.
K's Merchandise was a big one.
Okay, that wasn't around here, but yeah. Marshalls, and then all those different places, and that's how I learned. The shop for a bargain. Back then the shirt might have been marked at $15, and you got it for $5 at the discount store. I remember back in the day, the Izod Lacoste shirts were all popular. So we went to the local flea market. We call them flea markets. Some people call them different things, swap markets, whatever. We call them flea markets here in New Jersey. So I would get the Izod Lacoste because we couldn't afford the real ones. And have the little alligator on, and it would be like glued on.
Like a fake one that cut out and just glued on there. And
exactly. And then they would get rated every year or whatever at the different vendors. But I mean, that stuff still goes on. But that's how I got it. And, kind of that was my background. My mother was always, shopping for bargains. So, okay. So we got a basic understanding of where you're from, how you got involved in this. Well, let's get into RA and Amazon. Give us a basic entry into, RA again is retail arbitrage, guys, if you're not familiar with it. Why don't you explain what RA is, and we'll get into it and get into the nitty-gritties of it.
Yeah, so retail arbitrage.
I'm going to highlight you if that's okay?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So retail arbitrage is virtually, you're finding full price items and clearance items, and you're buying it from retail to stores, and the basic understanding is you're flipping it on Amazon, eBay, Mercari, wherever you can flip it out online, e-commerce. And so, like the basics on Amazon, the basics on RA is what you have to understand, kind of look at overall is the first step is getting the Amazon seller app and signing up for an account. And that's the first step. If you have, every item has an ASIN on Amazon. And so I
always forget what ASIN stands for. What is it? What's ASIN stand for?
So it's just it's like the seller ID number.
Okay, right. Amazon seller ID number.
Or Amazon seller
I always forget.
It's something like that. I always get that wrong. But so like if I listed this phone, it would have an ASIN. This phone blue, it would have an ASIN for the exact color, everything. And then every color on the phone, every different color would have an ASIN. So virtually every single product and every single style has an ASIN. So, I would say if you get over 100 ASINs, the next thing you're going to need is a repricer. And you can get Channel Max for $35.99. Channel Max is really the only repricer that's a basic repricer for just basic, just starting on Amazon. Channel Max is probably the best.
Okay, let's get in again. Let's assume we're all total noobs to this.
Yeah.
What is a repricer?
So basically, a repricer, what it does is you can set up a kind of a, you set up a basic thing of what you tell it to do. And virtually your items go into there from Amazon. You connect it to your Amazon. And you put a minimum and a maximum price. And it will automatically fluctuate the prices down and up. And that's called an algorithmic repricer. And Channel Max is an algorithmic repricer. So virtually you can reprice items pretty much all the time in your sleep, whatever. And there's two ways to reprice an item on Amazon. You can manually reprice it. And so the seller would go into their app and just drop down the price or, match the buy box, which is another thing is the buy box is virtually when you go to buy something on Amazon on the buying side and you click the one click, like if an item comes up and it says, oh, buy today for $12.99 and you click that, that's the buy box. And so it matches the buy box and virtually goes up and down. Now, Amazon has a free repricer built into Amazon, but I don't know if it goes up and down. I know it goes down, but I don't think it's an algorithmic repricer. But the price may still go up. I've never used it, so I'm unsure about that.
And you said that was Inside Seller Central, and it's called Sellers University.
No, that's the repricer. So the repricer is actually, if you just go to Amazon and go to the top, and it's like under settings and repricing, or it's like item, manage inventory and repricing.
Okay. So if you're doing it manually, right?
Yeah, and that's the built-in repricer for Amazon, where you can put in a minimum and maximum too, and it's free.
Right.
So.
Okay. So again, we kind of, I know enough to be dangerous with Amazon. Let's talk about FBM and a professional account or pro account as opposed to an individual account. I'm assuming they call it an individual account. It's $40 per month. Is that correct for a personal account?
For a pro
why
account,
would you want a professional account if you're going to do FBA as opposed to an individual account?
The only time you'd want a professional account is if you're hitting over 40 items or more in sales a month. 40 items, because you get charged.
Sales or listings? Sales?
Just sales.
Sales. Okay.
So every time an item sells out of your account, if you don't have a pro account, you get charged an extra $1.
Right. So that's an additional fee per item when you don't have a pro account. And
for
it's $40 per month.
$1. So basically, if you sell 40 items or more,
so it's not $40 a month. It's only $1 per item up to 40.
Yep. So
again, I'm confused. I thought it was a flat $40 fee per month. It's not.
No, well, it is if you get a pro account, but if you don't get the pro account, you just pay $1 extra for every item you sell.
Right. So, but a pro account is $40 per month.
Yep. Okay. $39.99.
Okay. Well, yeah. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. So I want to, we kind of like skipped over that. I just want to go from beginning and just basics,
Yeah. So. Absolutely.
Okay. Cool. So we're talking about repricers,
and
we're talking about. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So basically on the repricer, what I was going to say is, Channel Max is the $35. I'm not affiliated with them or anything like that, but there is a free repricer inside Amazon. And that one works good, but not as good as Channel Max, or, I use inform.co, which is $200 and some a month.
Could you repeat that? It was a little sketchy the way you said it. How do you say it again?
Oh yeah. I use informed.co.
Informed.co.
Yep, and that's what I use, and it's $200 a month. So I don't suggest anybody use that.
Not for a beginner, right? Okay.
Yeah, unless they're doing a lot of volume, but that's kind of a more advanced.
Gotcha. Okay. Now again, we all need to have we discussed pre-chat, basically what a new seller would have to do, and again, Shane and I have discussed this. Some of the other big sellers have discussed this. Basically, if you're new to Amazon, most resellers recommend selling on another platform, just getting your feet wet, like say on eBay or Mercari, whatever. Most educated resellers will say you just want to jump into Amazon, start out selling books, used book. Yep. Okay. But let's assume that we're doing used books, or we don't want to do used books for whatever reason. We just want to get involved in retail arbitrage. Mm-hmm. What is the basis that we need? We need a smartphone, correct?
Smartphone. You need the Amazon Seller app.
Amazon Seller app,
and that's really about it. You need a laser printer. That's like
a laser printer,
the most basic.
Okay.
There's a couple different ways to do it. So I started out merchant fulfilling, which is you ship the item out,
right? And
so I was able to learn the basics of Amazon by merchant fulfilling.
This is probably a good tip.
Yeah, and I did that 4 years ago. So, and then after a couple years, I quit Amazon. I hated it. I'm like, oh, Amazon's horrible. Not selling on it because I just wasn't selling a lot on merchant fulfilled. And then I went into FBA, which is fulfilled by Amazon, where you fill a box of stuff and you put a ASIN label on it and you send it into the warehouse, and it tells you what warehouse to send it to, and they fulfill it for you. And that's when I got into that, and I just haven't looked back.
Okay. And again, so you were saying like for a basic beginner,
with
the laser printer, do you recommend any particular thermal printers Do you have a preference when you get into again thermal printers? Again, if you're doing any kind of volume, guys, even on eBay, you want to get a thermal printer.
So
do you have preference or brands that you prefer, or
I love Rollo.
you love Rollo? Okay.
So and I love Dymos. So and let me kind of explain why I said that. So if you don't, so basically when you first start on Amazon, okay, when you do a shipment, you're going to go into the back end of Amazon and it's going to make you print out 30 up labels on a laser printer. And you have to buy them from Walmart and they're like 30 up address labels and you put them in there and it prints your labels out. And then you got to stick them on the thing. You got to, re-sticker them and refine the items after you've scanned them in.
Right, because basically they're going to intermingle your inventory with other people's inventory. So you got to make sure you have your sticker on there.
And so what I do, you really need to decide this when you first start it. You don't have to do it, but you can, is I pay $50 a month for Inventory Lab. And what that allows me to do is go into Inventory Lab and create a shipment, and I can manipulate those shipments a little bit. And basically it prints out a label after every item is scanned in. And I use a Dymo and I just sticker it and throw it in the box. It tells me what warehouse it's going to ahead of time. But if you do it through Amazon, it's not going to tell you ahead of time. You have to create the shipping plan, launch it, and then it tells you every warehouse that your inventory is going to.
So if you're doing any kind of volume, it pays you to have that program.
I can usually keep everything in one shipment when I'm doing it. And you get
now with the Dymo, what is the 4XL? I mean, I know because you have to print out a label for the big box, where the 50-pound box you're shipping into Amazon, and you have to print the individual. They're not UPC codes, whatever ASIN, whatever you want to call those labels.
Correct. And I use the 4XL, and then you just do the 30334 Dymo labels, and it'll take care of that.
Now, well, that does that again? I'm not familiar with the thermal printers that much. Does that have dual labels on, or you'd have to switch out the labels?
You have to switch them out.
Okay.
Yeah, so
now, what about the Rollo thermal printers?
So the Rollo I use to print out you can print out eBay stuff. It's great for that. But I also print out the shipping labels and the FBA label when you get done with the shipment for Amazon, because Amazon now has it to where you can print thermal labels on the back end. So you just, when you're done with your shipment and you pay for your shipment to go into FBA, what you're going to do is hit thermal printing. It'll be a big bar on Amazon, and then it takes you straight to print out the labels with a thermal printer, and I use a Rollo for that.
Now, again, I tell you, I know enough to be dangerous with Amazon. So Inventory Labs, does that have another program that's affiliated with it? Yeah,
so here's the plus when you get Inventory Lab. You can build your shipments and kind of manipulate it a little bit and keep it in one shipment. And it lets you, it tells you where your stuff's going ahead of time. You can build your shipments. It also does bookkeeping on there. So when you put in your cost and everything, it's going to track your sales and it's going to track your cost, your cost of goods. And then virtually it also has Scoutify too.
Scoutify is what I was thinking of. Okay.
Yep. So for $50 a month, you get all of that. And a Scoutify is just a thing where, it's an app where you can scan items and it tells you like ranks and stuff and how big the category is. And, it's linked with Keepa, so you can go straight to Keepa from there.
But Keepa is a separate service and it's additional fee, correct?
Yeah, so Keepa is a yearly service. I pay a couple $100 or a few $100 a year for that. Okay. And virtually you can scan an item or, copy and paste the ASIN in there, and you can look at sales rank charts and see how much the items are selling for, and actually the price of what they sold for in the past. And then you can see virtually how many times they sell, a month or 3 months or, a year.
Okay. So basically we're saying that you need a smartphone. Again, for the beginner, you need a smartphone, and then obviously download the Amazon Seller app.
Yep.
And you're saying
a laser printer. If you don't
laser printer, and you also said a repricer.
Yep. If you don't want to use Inventory Lab,
minimum to do it professionally.
Yeah.
If you don't want to use Inventory Lab, I'm sorry.
If you don't want to use Inventory Lab, then a laser printer. If you use Inventory Lab, a Dymo.
So you have to use a thermal printer if you're using Inventory Lab.
Yeah, you can link it straight to your Dymo, so then everything is running through Inventory Lab. So as soon as you scan,
I just said it because I wasn't aware of that. Okay, so then that, to me in my mind, then Inventory Lab seems like it's a great product for the money because
Yep.
you're getting Scatify in addition with it, and you said it also does bookkeeping for you.
Yep.
Okay, so we're talking again. We don't have to give me the exact details.
Yep.
Ballpark figures between Inventory Labs or Repricer and $40 for the pro account, and
You're probably looking at, if you start out beginner tomorrow and you didn't get a pro account,
right?
And you didn't get a repricer because you can use Amazon's built-in repricer for free, and you just got Inventory Lab.
Okay,
You're looking at $50 a month for Inventory Lab, and that's your only cost. Your Dymo is going to cost around $200, maybe 220.
And I guess you would probably recommend a Bluetooth scanner, especially if you're going to get involved with books or anything.
Yeah, books, a Bluetooth scanner, but if you're not going to do books and you're just going straight RA,
just use your smartphone with RA.
Yep, that's all I do. I don't use a scanner or nothing like that. And
okay, so when you do RA, you don't use a scanner; you just use your phone.
Yep, and if you're going to do books, then you need Scout IQ Scout IQ, which is just a book scanner. Links to your Amazon.
So Scatify will not do the books then.
No, well. The reason I use Scout IQ for books is you can literally scan with it and it dings green if it's good and it goes red if it's a bad book.
Right. Well, that's what I would want if I were selling books. But
yeah,
I wasn't 100% sure what Scatify did.
And it's just easy. It's easy to do that because
if I get in the books, which I probably will be eventually, I will definitely get Scout IQ. I'm going to get a Bluetooth scanner.
So, but newbie, that's all you need. And Scout IQ is $14 a month.
Hey, there's Mr. Chris. It was on last week. Thanks for joining us, Chris.
So if you're going to do books, and start out, you're going to have $50 for Inventory Lab. You're going to use the free repricer, and you're going to have $14 for Scout IQ. And if you're going to buy a Dymo, it's around $200, $215.
And you can buy some of those used, right? Even on Amazon, right, or eBay.
Yeah, they still range from about 190s, 200.
Okay.
So, and then you're going to get a Bluetooth scanner, and for a Bluetooth scanner, I suggest they have the higher ends, Opticon and KDCs. They're around anywhere from $200 to $400.
Right.
I don't suggest those. There's a scanner called eYoYo.
I was trying to ask because Prof Sales Jason and I had discussed that.
Yeah.
They're like what? They're like $40, $50. I'm thinking, I guess they work.
They're like $45, and I have one, and I have one.
Okay, so you've actually used it.
I have an eYoYo and I have a KDC. So I have two KDCs and an eYoYo. And the KDCs, they're expensive. They're pricey.
Sure, they are very expensive.
A few $100s, and I have two of those just kind of to charge the batteries and stuff. And but I have an eYoYo, and the eYoYo works just as good as those.
Does it really? Okay, well, I'm very glad you brought that up because when I was talking to Jason about that, and it's like I wasn't sure, and then okay, great.
The only plus side to a KDC is it's so small. It's like
I think I
big.
It up that the size is a little bit bigger on the.
And that eYoYo is like that big.
Okay. Yeah, but it's a quarter of the cost, not even a quarter.
It's a fraction. It's just a very small fraction, like 20% or 30% of the cost.
Okay, cool. All right, so then so we basically got like the minimum requirements to get involved in this.
Yeah.
Let's get into RA. I mean, I don't want your secrets, but tell me about if you were new to RA, you were me or a friend of yours that was a reseller that sold on eBay and wanted to get an RA. How would you tell them to go about it? What would you tell them that again? Don't give away your holy grail.
Yep.
Just give us the basics.
So obviously, if you're a brand new account, my advice would be not to do RA. But if you were dead set on going in and doing RA, you're going to be gated on probably 90% of everything you scan. You're going to be gated, restricted. Amazon's not going to let you sell it. And the reason that happens is Amazon's trying to protect their customers from you, and they don't know who you are. So you have to establish your account. You have to establish a sales history, and then you start getting auto ungated in a lot of things after a while. But with RA, if you're dead set on doing it brand new person, you're probably going to be gated in 90% of the stuff you sell. So my advice is to scan as much stuff as possible.
So that might be a reason to start selling books.
Yep.
To build up your account and your volume and to show Amazon you know what you're doing. You're not a fly-by-night seller, so to speak.
Well, And I'll be honest with you, when I started out in RA, like when I started out in RA, I was gated on everything. Like I
Right.
was hard gated in the whole toy category. Every
The whole
toy
toy
brand.
category, really? Wow.
There's two types of restrictions on Amazon. There's a category restriction and there's a brand restriction. So I was hard gated in both of those, in toys, health and beauty, supplements, topicals,
Wow.
and everything but like grocery.
Wow. There's some huge categories. I mean, I hear a lot of Amazon sellers are selling in these categories to do very well.
So I was hard gated in all of that.
Wow. Okay.
So I did books for about 5 months, and then I started doing RA grocery for a few months.
Right.
And in 6 months, I was doing 400 to 500 orders a month, and I was auto ungated in toys, topicals, health and beauty, and supplements.
After 6 months. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's a great tip. Okay.
But I was doing anywhere from $3,000 to $6,000 a month, in sales,
Sure.
about 500 orders a month.
Okay. So, well, that's a great tip too. Like I said, get started out in books, and work your way, maybe just grocery. And again, grocery, it's just things you're scanning at your local supermarkets or.
You can. I mean, there's a lot of things.
What about invoices for those type of things when you buy things on clearance at a supermarket or something? I mean, you don't have invoices. You have receipts.
Yep, and that's common. Like there's a lot of misconstruction with that, because there's a lot of people that say, "Oh, you can't sell on Amazon unless you have an invoice."
Okay,
that's not true. You need chain of custody in your items. So as long as you have chain of custody, you're covered for not to get ungated, but if anybody says it's used and you sold it as new, or if Amazon gets to verify the authenticity, the receipt will cover authenticity checks.
Right. If you bought something, I mean, I don't know what you guys have. We have ShopRights here, and I guess what do you have? Kroger's or whatever where you are. If you buy it from there, you buy it from Walmart or BJ's or Sam's or something. You have a receipt. That should fly. I'm assuming.
That will fly. 100%. not to get ungated, but for
right, because verified. Like, what'd you call it? Chain of custody.
Chain of custody. Yep.
Okay. Cool.
And so, virtually, like for me, I've had IP claims before, which is intellectual property claims. That's
right. That even happens on eBay quite a bit.
Yeah, and that's the thing with IP claims on Amazon is that's businesses trying to IP claim you and make up
to bully you basically to get off the platform, stop selling their stuff.
and I have beat IP claims with retail receipts. Wade has a question in the chat. Can I get ungated on Nike? I'm gonna.
We were gonna address that, by the way, Wade.
Yeah, we'll address that here in a minute. We'll address that here in a minute because I have a.
That's definitely in the conversation later in the.
Yeah, I have a tip on Nike, and the tip is don't sell it.
Don't sell Nike, and you can't sell Apple products, right?
Yeah.
You can sell non-Apple branded products, and I don't think you can even sell like OtterBox, right? Isn't OtterBox gated for everybody?
Not for me, but
not for you.
For a ton of people. But I don't. The reason I don't sell OtterBox is they're a very high IP claim brand.
Right. Okay, so basically we discussed that how to get into RA and be kind of leery to get into RA because you're going to be gated on 90% of the products. Again, gated means you're restricted, you're not able to sell them for the neophytes. Are you sure? Wait, because he sees a lot of them. Wait, you got to stay. That's the hook. We're going to.
You know what?
At the end.
we should touch base on this now because here's
all right. Wade, make Wade happy. Wade,
here's the thing.
On my show next Wednesday, so keep Wade happy.
Right. And I just want to touch base on this quick. Okay,
let's touch base on this
because
we're going to talk about Nike and gating services.
Well, no, Adam. This is actually a newbie question. Okay. And believe it or not, honestly, it is. Everybody that I've ever talked to, I have 3 to 4 people DM me on Instagram a day. Hey, how do you build an Amazon business? How do you build an Amazon business? 70, like I would say probably 60, 70% of every new seller, they say, I want to sell Nike. That's the first words out of their mouth. And I say, you don't want to sell Nike. the reason I say that is Nike is a very high IP claim brand. So they will IP you, but there's a lot of ungating services, stuff like that, that say, hey, because Nike is a very restricted brand. Like I know sellers that have, 10 to 12-year-old accounts and they're $1 million sellers and they're still gated in Nike. So everybody wants to sell Nike. No one can get ungated in it. And so you have a lot of ungating services out there that are pushing, we'll ungate you in Nike. We'll ungate you in Nike. Yeah, I mean, that sounds good. Okay, it sounds good. But there's reasons why no one can get ungated in Nike. And the reasons those are is I worked in corporate retail for 10 years. And I've seen billion-dollar companies get turned down by Nike.
I was going to bring it out. We discussed that in pre-chat. You've seen $1 billion retail companies
to sell them. And so
you're going to pay a guy $800 or $1,000, and you're going to get ungated, and you're going to have to buy 25 boxes of Nike?
Well, no, because here's what happens. A lot of the ungating services, they ungate in two ways. They either tell you where to buy it and how to submit it, or they give you an invoice. The ones that give you an invoice, okay, I would be scared of, because that means they manufactured that invoice behind the scenes and it is a fraudulent invoice.
Exactly.
I've seen people get shut down for life for manufactured invoices. Now, here's
a friend of mine in the chat, Crystal. I mean, she had legitimate invoices, but she was doing drop shipping, but she was doing it legitimately through distributors.
Yep.
And she's banned for life.
But the thing is,
and that's not even selling, with she had legitimate invoices. It was just the delivery of the product.
But the thing is, that happens. Like drop shipping, no matter what, is always against Amazon terms of services. There is no right or wrong way. But in the terms of service, it says if you are drop shipping from a manufacturer or legitly, basically, that as long as the items arrive on time, you won't be dinged for it. So
it's cracking me up.
So here's the thing. So you pay $1,000 to $2,000 to get ungated in Nike, right? And there's no guarantee you're going to get ungated. So you don't get ungated, you lose your money. Now, here's what I'm getting at, and this is a very important aspect in this whole scenario. So I could talk about ungating services all day long. I'm going to make it very, very quick. So basically, they have two types of ungaters, and that's the two I told you about. Now, one type gives you an invoice. Most of the time, they manufacture those invoices. The actual thing to watch out for is getting an invoice, but getting no product. That is a big no-no. You cannot get an invoice and get absolutely no product. It don't work like that. The second way to ungate is they tell you where to go and what to do. Well, and I'm going to say this, most companies that sell Nike, okay, for sellers and you get invoices that you can get ungated on, most of the time, they don't know the people are selling it on Amazon, which poses a huge issue with the MAP policies, which is the minimum, or it's a MAP policy where the companies have a MAP policy, and
minimum advertised price.
Yeah, it's advertised price.
Yeah, I used to, when I sold mattresses, I used to know what it was called. It was
And Nike's MAP policy.
Got a cough here for a second. Go ahead, keep going.
Nike's MAP policy restricts online sales. So if you get an IP claim, it's probably not going to be very good on Nike. I've seen people get 40 to 50 IP claims on Nike in a day and get their account shut down. So Nike, this is why I say you don't want to sell Nike. The ungating services, some of them do it right. But I have a hard time trusting any ungating service that is saying we'll ungate you in Nike, because wholesalers for Nike for online sellers do not exist. I worked in corporate retail. They don't exist.
Like you said, $1 billion retail stores couldn't get authorized to sell Nike. Some little reseller that's going to buy 25 boxes of
Yep.
Nike going to get ungated?
So most of the time when you go through those distributors, like you'll have an ungating service, here's how it works. You pay them $2,000 or $400. They pull you into a Facebook chat and they say, we're going to guide you through how to do this. This is the legit way to ungate. But a lot of the times
They say it's a legit way.
well, some of the times it is, because I can pull someone in there and I can tell them how to get ungated in toys. I can tell them how to get ungated in Lego, Hot Wheels, Barbie, whatever. But I don't give that. I just don't give it out.
No, I wouldn't.
But the thing is, with Nike, they pull you in and they say go through this distributor and say this, this, and this. Well, a lot of times their thing is we're going to use a retail store address down the street, and we're not going to tell them we sell on Amazon, and this is how we're going to do it. Well, guess what? If Amazon ever calls that distributor and says, "Is this invoice legit?" and they say, "This is Amazon," Nike is going to say no, or the distributor is going to say no, because they get fined by Nike if they sell to any online retailers.
Yeah. So again, and I'm not an expert, but I mean, there's a lot of fraudulent. Let's say call it fraudulent. Yep. I'm not naming specific people.
Yeah.
There's a lot of fraudulent ungating services for Nike.
Just do not try to get ungated in Nike. Like
right.
if it auto ungates for you, that's great.
I'm no expert, but I know that much.
Do not do that.
I know some people that have gotten financially hurt and gotten involved with these services. And
now, I do know people that sell Nike and a lot of it, and they're fine, but they're bigger sellers. Like when you're a brand new and you get ungated in Nike, that is huge red flags flying up for Amazon.
Right.
And your first 4 or 5 years of selling on Amazon, you just want to fly in under the radar. And
true.
Just do not
create. Saying, keep your nose clean, so to speak. Yeah.
Yep.
All right, now that we got so off topic, I don't know where we were.
Wait,
we're going to address that, so that's fine.
One thing is, he says, "Can I get ungated in Puma?" I'm actually ungated in Puma. Puma auto ungated.
Okay. Oh, they have auto ungated. Okay.
So I can sell Puma. I can sell all that. I would not do an invoice for Puma. I wouldn't go through an ungating service. I would let it, because clothing, if you start selling more clothing will start auto ungating for you. I'm ungated in Reebok, Puma. The only clothing brands,
Adidas.
The big ones I'm gated in are Adidas and Nike. That's the two big ones. I can sell Under Armour. I can sell.
Oh, really? You can sell Under Armour?
Yep.
Okay. Yep. While we're on the subject, again, there are YouTube channels that talk about purchasing sneakers. The guys are sneakerheads that buy a lot of stuff from Ross Dress for Less. And a lot of these, again, I don't know the technical terms on it, but they have blemishes or they have defects. Can you address that a little bit?
Yeah. So sorry, I was my wife texted me and she was telling
me. I keep getting texted too.
So I was like, oh dang, that's my wife.
I'm very popular, but I keep getting texted.
But the thing is, with defects and stuff, here's the policy for Amazon. That has to be in pristine condition. The packaging needs to be in pristine condition. So here's my rule of thumb. If the packaging looks amazing, I send it in. If the packaging has a couple little dings, if it looks like it could have been done in shipping, I'll send it in. But if it's big time messed up or really dinged up, I just leave it on the shelf. And that's kind of my rule of thumb. It has to be almost perfect, or if not perfect. But that's really what you want to look for. You want the stuff to be in good condition. You don't want to be all tore up, because you got to think about it. It's going to be shipped to FBA, then it's going to be shipped to your customer. It's shipped out a lot, and it's handled a lot.
And I don't know where we're talking about this earlier today, but I mean, Amazon will ship things sometimes out to put it in this big, huge box. This is a little product. They'll put 3 air pillows. Then it gets damaged. I mean, I bought a $250 item, and that's what they did. Again, the item was very well packaged inside the interior packaging, but the box was damaged. So again, I wasn't buying it to resell, I was buying it for my personal use.
Well,
it was a $250 item, and the box came, dinged up.
And Perlini asked a good question. So Ross and TJ Maxx are selling defective products. Yes and no. So any kind of shoes that you get from Ross, TJ Maxx, and all those discount stores, shoes are not always retail condition.
Right.
So what I mean by that is, like, if you are picking up Nikes from Ross and selling them, most of them don't have the box. But if you're picking up, like a lot of people are doing videos on like picking up Nike from Marshalls, right. Some of those are like slightly defective shoes.
Exactly. Yeah, a lot of them are.
So,
and if you're not an expert, if you're not a shoe head, you would know a little blemish or something, or
exactly,
maybe stitching slightly off or whatever, or has a little blemish.
And I don't sell clothing from, like, I will sell like socks and hats from
right.
Ross and TJ Maxx and stuff like that.
I'll sell hats also. Yeah.
Socks on Amazon. I'll sell those. Underwear. I'll sell those.
Right.
But when it comes to like jerseys and stuff like that, I really steer clear from
which is a great tip, right?
From those discount stores. And also, the reason I really try to stay away from Ross and TJ Maxx and Marshalls altogether, because their receipts are extremely harder to hold up for IP claims.
Is that a reason, like Amazon doesn't like accept them, or
you what? Can? Well, Amazon never really vets RA, but they don't care. I mean, the receipts were good. It's just with Ross and all that stuff, like you can shop there. Like I do a lot of toys there, stuff like that. I wouldn't do fragrances. I wouldn't do any hand creams. I wouldn't do any cosmetics.
Oh, really? Okay, you wouldn't do topicals. Okay.
From there, because it's just too risky. But clothing, like I do some clothing out of Ross and TJ Maxx. I just know what I'm looking at. So you got to really.
I'm just curious, why wouldn't you do topicals? What's the reasoning behind that?
A lot of topicals from those stores are extremely high IP claims.
Really?
Because a lot of them
they could possibly be counterfeit.
No, well, could be, but I don't think they're counterfeit. They're really high IP.
Okay, the manufacturers file a lot of IP claims, and you have to defend yourself. And
people don't know this, but Ross and TJ Maxx, they deal with a lot of like pallet buys, so they might buy products with private label products in them. I've seen private label products on shelves at Ross.
Really?
Those private label companies will IP claim you.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yep.
I told you this guy has a wealth of knowledge, guys. Please ask questions. They can ask some questions. I mean, that's changed more than one answer your question. So, and again, if you're watching the replay, guys, you can ask questions in the comment section, and I'll reach out to Shane. I'll have an answer for you. So, besides Wade, do we have any other questions? No, I'm just kidding. Wade, what's your question, Wade?
but they do have. I mean, Wade is right. They do have counterfeit items at those stores. Their items are second sometimes, so it's secondary items that didn't make it to retail shelves. So that's why I just don't like to sell shoes, like Nike shoes and Adidas shoes. I probably would never sell those from Ross or Marshalls. I'm just being really honest.
And what is so they do have counterfeit items in those stores? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, they have a lot of seconds. I mean, is that what you're the retail guy? What do they call them in the retail language?
Seconds, or like if something wasn't just good quality enough to make it to a retail shelf, they'd either call it a second or they call it a reject.
Reject. Okay, second. I guess second sounds nicer.
Reject or whatever.
What is Mr. Noel saying? It's a long question. A lot of those shoes and clothing get sold to employees straight out of the factory as well. So able to sneak in an employee manufacturing, employee sale in the early 90s, and we came.
And Wade is right. Shoes do have quality grades. So like Nike, I think they have it would be like A, B.
The quality grades. Okay, thanks, Wade. I wasn't even I didn't realize they had quality grades. Okay.
Is that Wade in the chat? Is that what it is? A, B, C, and D, I think, or is it 1, 2, 3? It's like something like that, and then like the lowest quality is a D, and the highest is an A, or something like that for Nike.
I wasn't even aware. I just figured they were either first quality or they were not first quality. I didn't realize they had different grading.
So like the outlet stores,
new product.
Outlet stores would be like that too. They would have different quality.
Well, yeah, the outlet stores, right?
So if you go to the Nike outlet, you might be buying D quality grade Nikes, and when you sell them on Amazon,
I wouldn't sell anything from an outlet on.
No, it's tough.
That's basically what they get. They get discontinued styles, and they get second.
Right. But here's the thing:
I would use them for myself. It's a different story. Yeah.
I'd sell other clothing from outlets. Like I sell shirts from outlets and pants from outlet stores. I do, because outlet stores, the receipts are good. The receipts can be fought with IP claims. I've sold Columbia from like outlets. You know, I'll do outlet stores and stuff. I just don't like the whole Ross and TJ Maxx kind of thing.
Well, you got to realize too, and I do know a little bit about this. Some outlet stores sell clothing that is specifically manufactured for outlet stores.
Correct.
It's not even available at, like, say, a Lord and Taylor.
Correct.
Or these other, higher end department stores.
Mm-hmm.
You're selling it, say, like Nautica, let's say.
Yeah.
I mean, I love Nautica products, but maybe the Nautica shirt I'm buying at the outlet is not the same as I'm buying directly from Nautica online, or at Macy's or wherever.
Yeah. And as long as like the Amazon listing doesn't state like a certain grade, you're good. As long as it's the same model, it's brand new, it has no flaws to the naked eye, and that item is still tagged, everything. Like same model, same exact item, has to be the exact item, you're good. I've sold Columbia shoes from.
Well, I guess how would you track that? Just from the RN number?
Yeah, well, not even that. I would just literally scan it on Amazon and read the description. And as long as they're not promising a certain grade or quality, you're good. Okay. I wouldn't do it with Nikes or with Adidas because they are very restricted brands. And if someone checks and say, I got a D grade shoe, they're going to be mad. Columbia, they don't really have grades like that. It's just Columbia.
Lindsay, I read one place to not buy clothes from is Costco because they are mass produced. Quality isn't the same up to par. Okay.
But
I buy all my underwear at Sam's, so it's like I don't know if it's the same quality as I get in the regular stores, but I get an 8-pack underwear for $10, so it's a good deal to me. Thanks, Wade. Hopefully we'll get together next Wednesday. We got to go to verify everything. Okay. Thanks for stopping in. We should have Mr. Wade Ventures on the same time next Wednesday. Not to take anything away from Shane, but Mr. Wade is very knowledgeable, especially about storage auctions. So we're looking forward to having him on next Wednesday.
Wade's a good dude. Me and Wade, we go way back. Like we kind of started on YouTube the same time. We kind of grew up in the ranks together.
Right.
And so we've been friends. Me and Wade's been friends for a long, long time. Like,
Shane says, "Wait, just say no to Nike."
Yeah. But like outlet stores don't bother me if it's like a Columbia outlet or something like that. That don't bother me. It's the Nike stores and like the Adidas outlets that bother me.
Right.
Or
you could go to Columbia. What other give us some tips as far as what other outlet stores you feel would be safe to buy from?
I mean, I think any big box store you're good. Like it's just you get into a sketchy situation when you do. You get into a sketchy situation when you get into like Nike and the really high end brands, from like Ross and I still go to Ross and buy stuff. I still go to TJ Maxx and buy stuff. I still go to Marshalls and buy stuff. The receipt doesn't have the UPC, but it has a description of the item, and you can still beat an IP claim with that. I just feel bad about really just going and buying the Nike and Adidas there because it's not the same quality and it's very iffy. So, but I'll buy socks, I'll buy all sorts of other stuff from there and sell it. But honestly, it just depends. Like I don't really think any stores are really off the market. You just have to be extra careful on certain brands.
Well, like when you were showing the video, basically and again, that it's funny because those stores are very similar to the stores that we have here in South Jersey or California, whatever. They have a series of stores and they all seem like to mingle together. It was funny when you were driving to that shopping center. I said that could be right here in South Jersey. Those stores. When you go to the parking lot.
Farm Girl Scavenger asked where was I 2 weeks ago. So 2 weeks ago I was on an RA trip, and so I started out on a Friday and went to Arkansas, Missouri, like way like Branson, Missouri. Went to Arkansas, and then ended up in Oklahoma. And I spent 4 or 5 days with Jason Deason at his house and hanging out and shooting some videos and stuff like that. So,
these telemarketers drive me crazy.
But you know, any store, like, you know, when people say, well, what's the best stores? Any store. Like, I can go to any store and make $100. You name a store and I can go there and make $100.
You know, it's funny. A lot of people say they do well at Walmart. My Walmart's, I'm sure if I scan everything, and again, you guys are experts on RA, you go in the pharmaceutical department, scan different things, topicals, I wouldn't know where to look. But whenever I scan clearance, I never find anything. And that was a tip, guys, I brought up maybe 10, 12 shows ago. If you're not aware of it, and I'm sure Shane obviously is an expert on retail arbitrage. If you go into Walmart, a lot of times you'll go to check a price, especially in the clearance section. It's a mess a lot of times. You have no idea what the price is. It's not stickered properly. Then you go look for a scanner. You can't find a scanner. And then the clerk will tell you, oh, yeah, it's over there.
At Walmart?
I'm sorry.
At Walmart, right?
Yeah, I'm going to. There's a reason I'm telling the story.
Yeah.
So you go to a scanner and their scanner's broken. So one time, about 4, 5, 6 months ago, I'm walking and the clerk is like scanning things with a smartphone. I said,
yep.
Can I use that? He goes, oh, yeah, just download the Walmart app. I said, son of a gun. So now I don't have to go looking for a darn scanner, and half the time it's broken. I just bring out. Right. And you do is you log into their Wi-Fi of that particular store, so it'll know the price, because Jane obviously does a lot of retail arbitrage at Walmart. You know that maybe it's like $9.99 at one Walmart. It could be $12.99 at another Walmart. Oh, so you log into their Wi-Fi for that particular store, and that way it knows you're in the store. It identifies you as being in that store, and it'll give you the price for that store.
I have I have every app known to man. So I have 2 pages on my smartphone of just retail store apps.
Okay.
So I just download every one of them I go into just in case I go back. I try to stay away from Walmart. I really don't go to a lot of Walmarts. I try.
Your experience has been probably like me. You don't find a lot of things there.
Well, it tanks really quick. Like, you know, Walmart clearance, it tanks fast, but it's still good if you get the right
people
price.
Jump on that listing and it's a race to the bottom.
Yeah. It always is on Amazon with every item.
True. You know, true. When you have repricers.
Yeah, but you know, for me, like, I'll do some Walmart clearance if I think it's at a good price. You know, it just depends. But I just try to go other places. Like, you know, I try to really stay out of Walmarts. I do about probably right now 30% even wholesale. So I do about 40% wholesale, probably about 40 to 50%.
Oh, you're up to 40% wholesale now. Okay.
I'm probably 40%. Like, might be around a little lower than 30 now, but there's times that it goes up, and you know, I'm doing at least probably on an average 60% RA, but a lot of it is wholesale too. So,
and again, I know we said RA, and again, I don't want your secrets. Mm-hmm. Again, obviously, we're going to start with books.
Yep.
And maybe we'll get into RA.
Right.
We're at the point now we want to go into wholesale. Would you recommend going to like these various conventions? Is that how you? No,
you can. ASD is.
Well, I don't know what's going to happen now with all these conventions with the coronavirus, but ASD, right?
ASD. I was actually going to go to ASD, and I canceled my trip.
Right.
So I had my ticket for March, and I was going to go out there and go to ASD. ASD is great because you get to meet a lot of people. You get to meet a lot of wholesalers. But you know, if you are really even moderately new, so even if you have a 2 or 3 year old account, you know, I suggest doing the wholesale just very lightly at first, because that is probably the best way to go bankrupt on Amazon, is doing wholesale. If you spend $4,000 on a product and Amazon comes in on the listing, guess what? You're waiting to sell that.
Well, that's the other issue too.
Yeah.
Then I hear stories of people that buy things and then they basically wait through whoever has the buy box or Amazon. I guess Amazon doesn't run out of inventory very often.
Yeah.
But I guess your repricer would track that, and they would know that they're out of stock, and then they would try to get you at the buy box.
Yep, the buy box would go up to the price you're at. You know, if you're the lowest FBA, whatever. But that's what you really got to look at is, you know, I just started in wholesale, like buying a couple boxes here and there, and it maybe 10.
I mean, again, I want your secrets, but what did you do? You just started calling people up and say, "Look, I have a." Again, the whole issue too is when you say I have an online store.
Yep.
You know, whether it be eBay or Amazon, that throws up red flags a lot. I guess there's a proper way to do this that doesn't. But you have to be honest.
And any wholesaler that I have a state reseller's license, and any wholesaler, they pretty much want that. So if you don't have a reseller's license,
You have a reseller's license, and where do you get that?
through your state.
Through the state. Okay.
Yep. Some states,
or there's actually a reselling license.
Well, in Illinois, it's called a reselling license.
Okay.
Or a reseller's permit.
Okay, I didn't realize that. Okay.
In other states, it's called like a state EIN number, or EIN number, or whatever. But it's basically where, if you're signed up for it, you have to submit sales tax to your state.
Gotcha.
Anything sold in your state.
Right.
And so, they're going to want those documents. So if you don't have them, you're not going to get really approved for a lot of wholesalers. And then, the next thing
is the truth. Yeah. You always have to have an EIN number, right? Just even to get in your foot in the door, so to speak.
Yeah, reseller certificate. Yeah, Rosie said it's a reseller certificate in her state. It's called a reseller's permit or license in Illinois. So, every state has one of those, and you need one of those. It's basically when you submit it, you get it stuff tax free for items for resale. And
allegedly, not always. Sometimes you go to Goodwill, and they would start to sell.
And that's why
right.
You're required to have one for wholesale, because they're not going to charge you taxes, but they also that's a barrier to entry that a lot of people don't have. So that's kind of what sets you apart. So when you go to a wholesaler, they're going to want that. And then, and your state DOR, Department of Revenue, absolutely. Right. And so they're going to want that, and they're going to want some other things from you. And if you don't have those, they're not going to accept you. But typically what I do is I submit all my documents that they want. And then when they ask for a website, I just give them the storefront to my Amazon account. And then I put it out there. I'm an Amazon reseller, and I sell on eBay and Amazon. Right. And I'm looking to gain a supplier, and I really like your products. And then you wait to hear back.
Okay. Is there any, again, guys, we're pushing an hour mark, and I try to keep my guests to around an hour. I know their time is valuable. So again, if you guys have any additional questions, please get them in the chat now. We'll answer them, and we're going to try to keep this right around an hour. We're pushing an hour. We can go 5-10 minutes over, but I really want to keep it close to 1 hour. So if you have any other questions about reselling, or specifically retail arbitrage, please pop them up in the chat.
I mean, and here's, a little bit about me. Like last year, it was a struggle on Amazon. I was struggling. The year before that, I was kind of struggling. I think it's March, and this year I've done over $90,000 in sales already for the year, just on Amazon, not including eBay. And so I'm going to hit 100,000, over 100,000 sold by the end of this month. So my goal is to do anywhere from 700,000 to 800,000 this year. That's my goal.
Somebody had a question. What was it? eBay Addicts. Go ahead, eBay Addicts. Ask your question.
I may have missed it. Sorry about that.
Noel says, and we'll answer Noel's question first. eBay Addicts, if you have a question, ask it. Shane, how about vintage books on Amazon?
You can. You have to sell them used, but the best way to do it is to scan the cover of the book. And if it don't come up, it may not be on Amazon. And if it does come up, then you would just sell under that listing. But I would either scan the cover, or if it has an ISBN number, type the ISBN number in.
Okay. eBay Addicts question. When you order the wholesale items, do you have them shipped to your house first, or do they go directly to the Amazon warehouse?
Good question. So it just depends on your wholesalers and what they will do for you. So there's some wholesalers that will ship directly to Amazon, but you have to have a bill of lading, and you have to have a few other things to do that. I don't like to do that, because if you ship it like that to Amazon, then you're going to have to pay Amazon to do the prep. So polybagging, labeling, stuff like that. And that gets really expensive. So I just have it shipped to my house. Some wholesalers require you to find your own shipping, which is LTL, pallet shipping, or they do it for you. So I have some distributors that they just straight up do it for me, and they'll say, this is your shipping cost. And I'll say, all right, charge my card. And they charge me. I've already paid for the products at that point. Some of them, I pay for the products, and they say, find your own shipping. And so I have one that, I have one distributor now. I have 2 pallets coming, and I paid $1,000 for the product. It's several several hundred units, pretty big items, but I have to find my own LTL and freight forwarding service.
LTL meaning what?
LTL is just like freight shipping, pallet shipping.
Okay.
FedEx LTL or an LTL, like lateral
for the most part,
transfer.
I'm sorry. For the most part, you don't ship directly into Amazon. You have them shipped to you or your prep center, and then you ship them in Amazon.
Yep. And lots of love, LTL. Yes, Tiffany. Yes, that's what it stands for. But I'll do find a freight forwarding service like have
you used any? What was that service where they used to have that reality TV show where they'll actually come to your place and they'll pick it up? They put it out for bids. Was it you bid or something or?
Yeah, I don't use that. I use
I'd be afraid to use something like that.
I use either Roadrunner or I use XPO.
Okay, cool. 2 more tips.
Yep.
I'm gonna start calling you Chris, you're Mr. Pro Tips.
But I mean, wholesale is very risky to get into, and so that's where I always suggest kind of
you ship. Yes, Craig, you ship. That's it. Yep.
Yeah. Kind of slowly going into it. Uber Freight, I haven't used them. You're looking at Roadrunner and XPO is probably your cheapest. Your cheapest for freight shipping.
Okay, XPO, like X-ray, Peter.
Yep.
Oliver.
Oscar. Yep.
Oscar. Thank you. I don't know military speak.
Yep. But yeah,
guys, give you like 1 more minute. I know there's like a 30-second lag on StreamYard. Ask your last minute questions. I'm going to wrap this up. Shane has been here for over an hour. Again, I want to thank Shane for being here. He's a wealth of knowledge. And again, please, if you're not subscribed to Shane's channel, please do so. I'm sure most of you here are. Again, all his social media contacts are in there. His Facebook group is listed underneath in the description. Shane just did a video on retail arbitrage. After this post, I will put that link in the description below, so you can check that out as well.
Hey,
Paul's question, Shane, do you use Inventory Lab for your Amazon biz?
Yes. So I use Inventory Lab for a couple different reasons. To build my shipments. So I use it to build my shipments. I use it for bookkeeping, and I use it for just kind of tracking items, looking for out of stock, stuff like that. The bookkeeping part, I use it for like cost of goods and stuff, but I also have GoDaddy bookkeeping, and it automatically imports every eBay sale, every eBay charge, every Amazon sale, and every Amazon charge. So I can get all those the charges and the sales instantly on GoDaddy bookkeeping. So but I use Inventory Lab for a few different reasons.
Yeah, like you said, as far as even like an intermediate seller should probably have Inventory Labs.
I mean, even if you're part-time, okay,
right.
you should probably have Inventory Labs for kind of the bookkeeping aspect and the shipment building,
right?
But also GoDaddy bookkeeping, because that's going to track. You can automatically hook it to Amazon, eBay, and PayPal, and it tracks everything.
Oh, cool.
Automatically. You don't have to do a spreadsheet; it does it for you. So,
well, guys, we started out all right, but Shane's covered a lot of information. I mean, there's some great tips. I mean, we just got sidetracked a little bit, but great information.
But I mean, you got to think like in a reselling business, even if you're part time, like if you make $1, you have to pay taxes on it by law.
That's correct. Absolutely.
So, if you make 10 grand, or if you sell $20,000 or 200 items, you're going to get a 1099. You're going to have to file on.
Yep, absolutely. Okay, guys, we're going to wrap it up. Again, I want to thank Shane for being here. Just a wealth of knowledge, guys. Again, I'm sure you're all subscribed to his channel, but if you're not, please do so. And again, we're trying to build this channel up, guys. Trying to have some great guests. I'm supposed to have Wade Venture on next week.
Next week.
All screwed up. Next week, next Wednesday. we have like a 90% commitment, so I'm hoping. I know he's fighting a cold, but it seems to be better. So I think we're good to go. Again, we have some great people, and we have Mr. Chris, Mr. Pro Tips is in the chat. And I don't know if you heard my joke. I was going to start calling Shane Chris because got a lot of pro tips there. He's just competition there, Chris.
A lot of pro tips. But yeah, thanks, Adam. Thanks for having me on, man. When I do these with you, it's always fun. Like I
appreciate you and I just have a simpatico. It's just like we're chatting with another reseller, and I really appreciate your time.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on, man.
Okay, guys. So again, hit that thumbs up, subscribe, share if you will, and please leave a comment. And appreciate y'all being here. We'll see you next time. Thanks, guys.